Hi guys, in this episode, James O'Brien pretty much destroys Ian Duncan Smith on Brexit. I'll be back after with some commentary. Enjoy.
Here's Ian Duncan Smith in November of last year. A deal is oven ready. Let's get Brexit done and take this country forward. This is a man who not only voted for the withdrawal agreement, that, as you will remember, better informed people were explaining didn't do all of the things that they claimed that it did. So he not only voted for the withdrawal agreement, Ian Duncan Donuts, he also voted to reduce the amount of parliamentary scrutiny that would be allowed of the withdrawal agreement. You'll remember that Conservative MPs who wanted time to go through it with a fine-tooth comb got chucked out of the parliamentary party. This is the same man. He said in November the 5th, 2019, it's there in black and white, a deal is oven ready, let's get Brexit done and take this country forward. And then he voted for it, and then he voted to prevent other MPs from scrutinising it, and then he supported a Prime Minister who elected to eject MPs who wanted more time to scrutinise it from the parliamentary party. And here he is yesterday. And you might want to sit down for this. This is the same man, all right, Ian Smith, who, in order to accelerate his social climbing and his political ambitions, not only lied on his CV about his education at the University of Perugia, but also started using his middle name as if it was double-barrelled in the hope of sounding posh. Whilst the UK wants to have a good trade relationship with the EU as a sovereign state, the EU has different ideas. They want our money and they want to stop us being a competitor. The withdrawal agreement was, this is the line, all right? You know these moments that I tell you are coming and you think, oh, shut up, James, get over yourself. And then they come. I don't know how you process this. How do you stay loyal to the cause? Here's the line. The withdrawal agreement we signed last year sadly helps them to avoid their own budget black hole, and this is where he mistakes the difference between a divorce payment and the settlements of outstanding debts. So he writes, to avoid their own budget black hole, the EU gets £39 billion as a divorce payment from us, reflecting our share of the current EU budget, i.e. outstanding debts. It's not a divorce settlement. But it gets worse. This is the moment where I think you would imagine anybody with even a scintilla of shame would hang their head. This is a man who voted for the withdrawal agreement and voted to prevent Parliament from scrutinising it and supported the Prime Minister who sacked, essentially, the politicians in his own party who wanted to scrutinise it. Listen to this. But it gets worse. Buried in the fine print, unnoticed by many. How can he write those words knowing that he voted against parliamentary scrutiny of the bill? Unnoticed by many is the fact we remain hooked into the EU's loan book. So leaving aside the huge error of confusing a settlement of debt with a divorce payment, unnoticed, buried in the fine print, unnoticed by many, is the fact we remain hooked into the EU's loan book. In other words, we are still liable for debts that we have. That is, to me, of all the Brexit bonkersness, this is one of the choicest morsels of utter idiocy. And it's the inability to realise how stupid he is that essentially explains Ian Duncan Smith's entire life. Anybody with an iota of intelligence would be too embarrassed to seek public office if they realised how little intelligence they actually have. But he's got so little intelligence, he thinks he's clever. And that is really at the root of so much of what's gone on in British and American politics.
A sycophant is someone who is incapable of seeing the faults in another individual. So be it Boris Johnson, be it Donald Trump, they have a support base that is incapable of seeing any faults in their leader. Now, you can also be a sycophant to an idea. In this case, we have Ian Duncan Smith, who is a sycophant to Brexit. He is absolutely disinterested in finding out the values or the costs related to the UK leaving the European Union. For him, it is all good. There is nothing negative about it. And he has reinforced this idea in his mind that Brexit is something positive. And even if someone were to bring up a problem with Brexit, he would turn it around into a positive. For example, if you were to say to him, it's going to be more difficult to sell your products to the European Union after Brexit, but his response would be, that's perfectly fine. We can put more emphasis on selling our products to other markets, completely missing the point that the European Union is the biggest trading bloc in the world. As an outsider, when you first listen to someone like Ian Duncan Smith, you think they are satire, you think they're a joke. You don't actually believe that they believe the things that they're saying. The problem with people like Ian Duncan Smith is that they view the world through a British exceptionalist prism. They believe that the empire never really went away, that the European Union is somewhat smaller than the UK on the world stage, that the UK still has the power it had 100 years ago. They haven't understood that the world has moved on from that when the UK joined the European Union, or the precursor, the European Community, back in 1973, it was because the UK was the sick man of Europe. The UK was in dire straits. They needed to be part of the European Community in order to improve their economy, to get out of the quagmire that they were in. And Brexiteers like Ian Duncan Smith look around and see everything functioning and believe that it's functioning because the UK is exceptional, that it's outside the European Union in some sense, but not actually realizing that a lot of what the UK has at the moment is thanks to European membership. Sadly, nostalgia for the empire is too strong for some people. Now, at the beginning of this, I said that Ian Duncan Smith is a sycophant for Brexit. I could be completely wrong here, and he could be attempting just to cash in on Brexit. But in either case, he's supporting something that is irrational. He hasn't actually understood completely, and he doesn't want others to understand, because perhaps if they did, they would be dead set against it. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. Why not become a Patreon and enjoy access to our Discord server where we share news, chat, and have some fun? If you become a patron, you can also make video suggestions on topics that are important to you. Check it out via the link in the description.